Well, we're excited to be with you guys this morning. Nathan, thanks for having me, buddy. I remember when I used to look cool. Yeah, it's been a really long time, actually. Hey, I just want to apologize off the bat to some of you, because I know some of you worked really hard to get your friend and your family, maybe some coworkers, to come to Mountain Lake. And you say, God, the pastor, he's just got such a great vision for our church, such a great way of communicating God's word, such great hair, and then now you got to deal with a random ball guy. So he will be back next week, so come back. But I am actually very excited to be with you guys today. We're going to take a look at something that is just relevant to all of our relationships. My wife and I have been married for 22 years. We have 3 teenagers. Can we stop and pray for us, please? Any parents with teenagers in here? God bless us. I say raising teenagers is like running a free hotel, but people are always griping about the service. But we're, we've been working with married couples for 17 years, and the thing we're going to talk about today, and most of my examples are going to be from the marriage space, because that's what I do, but I promise you this principle, it is important for all of our relationships. And this principle and this idea, and the thing I want us to wrestle around with a little bit today is words. Now, for all of you that love communication, and you're going, he's going to make you talk to me even though you don't want to. That's not this. So just breathe, especially all you in the cafe seats. Like, what? That's cool. Did they run out of money for seats and thought, well, let's just throw some tables up there? Or what? That's kind of cool. I think it's for people that don't want their nose to bleed up there. Anyway, what was I talking about? Words. I was ADHD long before it was cool. Words, I realized really quickly after being married for a long time and working with married couples that words matter to our relationships, to our family. And I realized this, or started to learn this, about 2 weeks into being married. So my wife and I were living in a little tiny one-bedroom bath apartment. We had one mirror in the whole place. And I'm in there shaving one morning, and she comes in and she does that thing that she's been doing to mirrors as long as I have known her, where she will back herself up to the mirror and then spin her head around and then check out the back of herself. I call it the owl. And I have since learned that the owl is followed with a question. A question that seems to be strategically designed to get me killed. And the question was, you think these pants look too tight? Mm-hmm. Choo-choo. Can you hear the train a-coming? Yeah, I was young, stupid, not attuned with the Holy Spirit when Jesus whispered to me, lie. And I said, my friends, these 3 words. There we go. These 3 words. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, like you never said anything. Yeah, kind of was the wrong answer. And I started trying to get myself out of it. They're not tight. They're just full. No? Yeah. See, I know I'm stupid. I know. I fully know. But yeah, kind of was the wrong answer. Yeah, kind of led to a lot of tears. In fact, she almost cried at one point. It was bad. It was bad. And I started to learn that day what I know 100% certain today is it only takes a few words to take our relationships in a direction that we don't want them to go. Some of you experienced that on the way to church today. Right? You're driving to church to learn about Jesus, and one of you turns into the devil. Because a few little words, maybe about lunch, or who's going to drop off what kid at what environment, it just takes a few words to take us in a place we want to go. Some of you actually got in a fight in the parking lot. We've got footage. I want you to watch this. Some of you are like, what? This is a fancy church. It could happen. Yeah, because it only takes a few words, right? It's really, really delicate. Things like, is that what you're wearing? No, these are my practice clothes. It's what I'm wearing. I got this one day. Have you worn that all day? No, I've been to the Oscars. This is my 5th change. Yeah, no. Yes, is that what you're wearing? We get things like when we know we've done something wrong, right? You kind of smell it in the house. Ooh, I did something bad and I don't know what it is. You kind of wade into the thing. Hey, what's wrong? And we get, nothing. The octaves go up. You for sure did something. Right? And it's always followed with nothing. I'm with my people. which we know translates into something, you're an idiot. Yeah, it only takes a few words. What about this atomic bomb of marriage? That response always makes me crack up, makes me sad. How many moms do we have in here? After all you do. After all you do, and your name is in the sentence that destroys relationships. It's not fair, but it is accurate. And then we get this wide sweeping statements we do with our kids or people we love or spouse. You always come home late. You always act like that. You always say that. You always. And then it's twin brother. You never do this. You never keep your word. You never do what you're going to say. And just those few words. And it just takes it, the connection, and it breaks it, and it sends us in a place that we don't want. This will never work. That will never work. Like this clicker. What were you thinking? My dad used to say that to me growing up, and his ADHD, long before it's cool boy, like he would go, "What were you thinking?" I'd be like, "Nothing, absolutely nothing." There was like, anybody got kids with ADHD? Yeah. Just so you know, let me speak on their behalf. We're not thinking anything before we do things. We just do them. Amen? Yeah. What were you thinking? And then we get this one. You know when someone asks you something, and you finally know an answer, and you tell them the answer, and they go, "Are you sure?" And then they stab us in the heart and says, "I'm going to Google that." Painful. And we got this. All right, so we've got a mixed audience here. Where did that come from? Nathan, was that you? I love it. Well, we have a audience. We'll call these special times between married people. Now, a lot of times in marriage, one of us appreciates special times more often than other people. The other half of our us. And when we hear this, it's very painful. Not tonight. Not this week. Maybe next month. What you got going on leap year? Yeah, they did hurt, right? Only takes a few words. Think how delicate it is. Let's think about this for a minute. Let's pause. Think how delicate it is. Just a few words, like what's going on? Because here's the thing. Here's what we all know in this room to be true. This puts us all on the same page. That whoever came up with this phrase, "Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me," that the person who wrote this is, to use a biblical term, a moron. We just know differently, don't we? We just know. Because I believe that God has hardwired in our relational DNA for words to matter. He says he is the living word. He gives us his word. Words are very important to the creator of the universe. Words are very important to his son. They're very important to us. And he has hardwired words to matter into us. Now, I've got to tell you, I've been, again, working with families for a really long time. Read a lot of books on communications of the family and of married couples. And I landed on one verse. One verse, and I thought, this unravels this mystery. Why do we say the things we don't want to say and not say the things that we do? This is the mystery. Because we get the sticks and stone things. We know that that's from moron land. But this is what why, if I were to ask you, do you want to say things to hurt the people you love the most? We all say what? No. None of us are getting up in the morning going, I wonder what I could say today that would really make everyone's life very painful and difficult. We're not getting up with ill intent and ill will. But yet we find ourselves saying these things that we wish we hadn't, and then we don't say the things that we do. If I were to say to you, do you want to speak words of life and love and encouragement into those people around you, what would you say? Yes, then why is it we find ourselves not saying the things that we want to and saying the things we don't more and more? Well, I landed on this verse, and I thought this just kind of takes all the study, it takes all the research, and it makes it really, really doable. And I was driving in this morning, and we love this church. They have been so great to our son. He's interned in here. I think he's speaking Yeah, he's speaking in the middle school service. I told him this morning, I said, be careful, buddy. We could take down a whole church in one day. Yeah, they said more life change. And I love that it's not just about, hey, let's just do this to check it off the list, that we would come here and then you would drive away and go, wow, I'm encouraged and I know how to make some changes. And I know to keep doing the things I need to keep doing and stop doing those things that we don't. And this verse is so powerful to do that. Careless words stab like a sword. When this hit me, I went, this is the power of this. Because right now I think we say, oh, everyone's too sensitive to words. We're all too sensitive to words. We've always been sensitive to words. And it manifests itself in different ways. At the end of the day, this has always mattered. God has hardwired this into it. And careless words stab like a sword. This was thousands of years ago, and it just seems to be, again, in our DNA that this word matters. But because we didn't do it out of ill intent, because we didn't say, I'm going to do something to hurt them, we say this. Let me back up. We say a stabbing is an event, and this is why this matters so much. Right? Careless words stab like a sword. A stabbing is an event. God forbid any of us in this room were to be stabbed. We would remember it for the rest of our lives. God is making that equivalent in our relationships. My mom passed away when I was 10, and I was at a relative's house a couple weeks later, and I had made this big mess in the family room, and my relative came in and saw it and got really frustrated with me, and I started to cry, and I ran out of the house. He chases me down, he grabs me by the arms, and he says, just because your mom died doesn't mean you can cry about every little thing. Now, I gotta tell you, when you're that age, you don't know what's just happened to you. You know something's happened to you. It was a stabbing that was an event. Because I'll be honest with you, I don't remember what Little League team I was on that year. I don't remember if we went on vacation. I don't remember what I got for my birthday, but I remember everything about that day. Because it was a stabbing event. Because he's saying to me, you're sad and that's not okay. And as a kid, you don't know what's happened to you, so you surely don't say anything to anybody. Some of you experienced something like that when you were growing up. You know, maybe it was a group of kids or some coach that said something about your athletic ability or lack thereof. You remember that. We worked in youth ministry for years and years, and I was always amazed at how teenage girls could remember what somebody had said about, especially their appearance. Nancy and I would meet with this girl, and she was telling us that she struggles because she's so overweight and not attractive. And we were both like, what? I mean, and I thought, what someone has said to her had been so formative to her that it was trumping the reality of the mirror, because nothing could have been more further from the truth. But these matter. A stabbing is an event, and we remember events, especially the hurtful ones. And we say this, I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. I was just tired. I was just kidding. Or I was just saying. Teenagers, parents, teenagers. Because that's, oh, you're totally disrespectful to your mom, but since you were just saying, we're good. This is not emotionally satisfying to their wound at all, by the way. When we say I didn't mean it, I was just whatever, it just makes it worse. We just negate what we've just done. Careless words stab like a sword, whether we want that to be true or not. But here's the great news about God's word. This is why I love this whole passage. Was that God doesn't mind going straight to the problem and being really transparent and saying, this is the reality of this, which is kind of scary if you think about it, that we're all walking around with a loaded weapon here at all times. Careless words stab like a sword, but he gives us the next part. He says, clicker, there you go. But wise words lead to healing. Think about God's economy on this, and only God, right? The very thing that we have used, and other people have used, words, to wound our spouse, to wound those we love, to wound our kids, is the very thing that God wants to use to heal them. Words. That it's the same thing, but it's not just any words. It's the right words. It's wise words, and that's a beautiful thing. So in other words, when the damage be done, there can be healing around this. There can be things, but here is why I think that we don't keep at it. When we're saying those wise things, when we're saying things to make up for it, is this. A stabbing is an event. Healing is a process. Healing's a process. You know, we remember these events. We remember these fights. But this healing is a process, and it's slow. And we're not exactly a culture that's pumped up on process, are we? You know, the little hourglass comes up on the computer, a little color wheel for more than like 3 seconds, and we're like, hey, I got an upgrade. Right? We want things to move fast. We got things that got to be quick. I was telling my son a few years ago what a record was. He now knows what they are. He calls them vinyls because he's hip like Nathan, right? So I'm going to go play some vinyls. I'm going, do you realize how crappy that sounds compared to what we've got? Why are you going back there? But anyway, so I've explained to him what a record was. And I thought, he's going to have some questions. And I didn't know how to explain it because I have no idea how a record player works. But I was like, he's got this disc, and you put it on this thing, and it spins it. And you take this arm, it's got a needle on it, and it goes brr, 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 and then AC/DC plays. And I thought, he's going to have a lot of questions. You know what his one question was? So did you have to go to the store and buy it? No, buddy. Music has always fallen magically from the sky on the device of my choice. No, we don't like process. We stand by the microwave saying, come on. Does anybody remember Jiffy Pop? That's a popcorn process, right? But we live in a thing, we want it quick. But what happens is we know we've said something hurtful. We remember that, and we try to start saying the better stuff, but we don't get a big reaction. You know, I think a lot, especially for wives, this is where we are tough on you as husbands. Like when you do say things that are affirming and kind to us, we don't give you a big reaction. We give you a, that's all you get for all your troubles is. But our insides are going. But you think, well, I'm not going to say it because it doesn't mean anything. It's a process. My wife told me I was the first person to ever tell her she was beautiful. So I've told her for years, not because I strategically need to, but because she is. And I'm like, you are so beautiful. Oh, beautiful. We driving down the road, she'll be talking, I go, pause for a minute. You're so beautiful. You know what she says? Thank you. And you will see her tonight. She is animated and fun and loud. And when I tell her she's beautiful, I get a, thank you. And one day I said, hey, you know what? I really want you to know how beautiful you are. Am I saying it too much? Because it doesn't seem to matter to you. And she goes, oh, no, I love it. I'm like, could you alert your face? Why? Because it's a process. But I've seen confidence there. As I've said it, as other people have said it, it's a slow process. Is it worth it? Is it worth it? I had a buddy who says to me, you know, his wife was verbally abused when she was little, and I was talking to him about this, and I said, hey, buddy, there's no one better with their words with you than with her. I said, but she still seems wounded. And he's got a cup of coffee, and he says, you know what? He said, when we first got married, she was a full cup of woundedness. And he goes, after all these years of marriage, she's about a half a cup. That's slow. Is it worth it? He has 2 daughters. Is it worth it? It is, but it's a beautiful process. So how do we do this? How do we stop this thing? And can I just tell you, as a dad of teenagers, I'm learning this too. Like I'm going, God, I'm not sure I can teach this today. Because this has been so difficult for me. As we do pretty great about it, my wife and I, but I'm telling you with the kids, you know, because they're not looking at you going, hey, you know, I know I'm difficult. I know I'm a challenge. I know I treat you like an ATM machine that annoys you and me. But Dad, one of these days, I'm going to be able to look back and go, he was there for me. You don't get that, do you? we don't get that. I've had to learn. We got to be slow. We got to learn to slow this thing down. Every radio station in the country has this thing called a 7-second delay, and they have 7 seconds to keep something offensive from going out into the airwaves. Wouldn't that be great if we had that button? I mean, how many times you're like, oh, I can't believe you just said that. Let's try that again. Wouldn't that be great? We got to be slow. We got to be slow. It's kind of like when people are talking to each other via satellite on the news, right? They're at Rio at the Olympics. So, how's today's games? Today's games are great. We're having a great. I think we need to do that sometimes. It's just pause. I have a friend who, when you talk to him, he talks like he's via satellite. You'll say something to him, he'll go, well, I was thinking about that, and I told Nancy, I said, Dave is amazing. I think he actually thinks before he speaks. What? We got to be slow. We got to be slow, especially during these times. When are the times where things come out of your mouth you just wish at? Counselors call it times of halt, when you're hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. Now, one time couples are fighting is when they reconnect at the end of the day, because I think they're one or all 4 of those. hungry, angry, lonely. When's the time when you don't do great? Mine's mornings. My philosophy for myself in the morning is just don't talk. Don't say anything. Grunt, point, put Post-it notes, spell things out in M&Ms, but you don't talk. Because that's when I tend to be grouchy or whatever. When's that time for you where you need to learn to be slow? And we got to be slow, but we can't be silent. Because some of us, you get mad, oh, I'm slow. Oh, yeah, I'm slow for like 6 weeks when I get mad. I will shut down like a Kmart, I will shut down on you. Sorry, that just came to me. I'm not sure that. It's probably completely inappropriate. I apologize to any of you who love the Kmart family and the Blue Light Special. But we can't be silent. We've got to say those things. And I know for some guys and some ladies too, going, this is difficult. You're going, oh, thanks up there, Mr. Words guy. That's what you do. But this doesn't have to be huge. It doesn't have to be a novel. It just has to be sincere and it has to be intentional when we can't be silent. Because I think about the kid wanting mom and dad to say good job. I think about just wanting to be affirmed by a boss or an employee. It's kind of waiting for you to say good job. You're killing it. You're killing it. How do we do that? We got to be silent. And we got to be smart, because here's the thing. The same book of the Bible that says for us to do this is also the one that says flattery is evil. Because we know it's evil. We know when someone's buttering us up. We know when they've got some agenda. It's not that. It's smart. It's got to be wise words. It's wise. Where are they wounded? And start speaking the right things to them. And here's where you know they're wounded. This is the place. When someone's reaction doesn't match the situation, it reveals where they are wounded. When their reaction does not match the situation, it reveals where they are wounded. If every time you talk about money, he or she gets too intense, their reaction's not matching the situation. You ask, could we stop at McDonald's? And they say, why are you trying to put us in the poorhouse? Doesn't match the situation. Why is it every time you talk about your parents, she loses mind? Every time you talk about parents, what is that topic? What is that thing where their reaction doesn't match the situation? Because here's what we can tend to do. When their reaction doesn't match the situation, we know 100% that we're right in that moment. And that feels pretty good. You're acting like an idiot. I'm not. This is awesome. This is clear whose problem this is. If we can be brave enough, you go, wow, they're touchy right here. They're wounded right here. Then we know how and where they're wounded to start speaking something different. Another example of watching how this happens in a different context. Have you ever watched someone who's got a family member who's sick? We have friends who, her husband had cancer, and you would talk to her, and she sounded like a doctor. She knew everything about infusions and chemo and radiation and clinical trials, and she would just talk to you. And I thought, you know what she's doing? She's trying to become very well versed and understood where he's wounded so he doesn't feel alone in that. That when they go to the doctor, he knows that she's got this little notebook that she will pop a doctor on the head with if he does not understand what's going on. That if I just know where they're wounded, I can just be their advocate. I can just help. They can just not feel alone. What if we got that strategic about knowing where other people had hurt them with words, even us? This is where they're wounded. So then we start saying really complicated things. Please. Because when couples and families, when we get to this point where we're angry, I mean, let's be honest. We can be rougher on the people we love the most than we are anybody else in our life. We'll say this a lot as the Southerners. I can talk about my family, but you better not. I get what that's saying. I'm protective. But you know what? The number one person that we need to protect our family from is usually us. Just because we can is the very reason we shouldn't. And so we unplug and we pull this back. Hey, if you're in a crisis point, just pull back out manners. Saying please, things like this. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, I know we're not doing great right now, but I want to thank you for getting up and going to your job every day because I know you hate it, but you do it to provide for our family. Hey, I know we're not getting along so great, but the way you love our kids and the way you get them to where they need to go, how that works, plus do your job, thank you for that. If you're arguing with one of your siblings or your parents or whatever, and you go, you know what, I know that we are seeing so differently to this. I know Christmas was a train wreck. I know everybody got their feelings hurt, but I want you to know that I'm here for the long haul. I love you. This hurts, but we're going to get through this. Thank you for being you. You're beautiful. How many dads and husbands do we have here? Yeah. Women want to be respected, absolutely. They want to be told that thing too, but there's something that seems to be hardwired in the DNA. A woman to want to hear, and young girls want to hear, I'm beautiful. Tell my daughter that all the time. And she'll go, I know, Dad, I'm beautiful. But dads, we need to say it to our daughters so they don't go try to get it from someone that's going to hurt them later. This is our job, and this is something we can do. When we talk about relationships and marriage is complicated and families, this is where it gets real simple. And if this is hard for you to say, just leave a note. Just leave a note. You are beautiful. Men want to hear this. You are hot. And here's the great news about men. We don't even have to be hot, but if you tell us we're hot, we'll believe you. That's how that works. Yeah, here's another one for guys. Ladies, all right, ladies, here's where your homework is. Men, studies show, are always feeling insecure about their job. Their performance of the job, are they going to have a job? They're going to be able to provide. There's something that's kind of anxiety for a man. So here's what your homework is this week. At least 5 times, I want you to go up behind him. He's facing that way, and I want you to cup your hand, and I want you to go, you got this, boom! And your goal is to leave a handprint on him. Even he's got a can of Skull in the back. I know we're incoming, so I just want to speak to everyone here. I can make fun of it because I live here too. You got this. I taught this at a women's conference one time in Alabama, and I don't think they're going to have me back, but I promise you, I did see a pastor's wife in the parking lot go up behind pastor and go, you got this. Maybe she knows something about pastor that I don't. So how many times this week, ladies? 5, yeah. Red marks, that's the goal. Okay, for others, let's go back to the special times for you married people. Try to say yes. Try to say yes. And I know why this is difficult. This is why this is difficult in marriage, because typically you've got one in a marriage that's more like a microwave. Special times, ding, ready. Right? More like a microwave, always ready. Or there's somebody more like, a crock pot. You like it just as much, but it takes you a little bit longer to warm up to the idea. Some of you are going, forget about that. Where'd I get one of those crock pots? That thing's fantastic. If you're more of the crock pot, then you just say, well, that too. No. Who says God doesn't have a sense of humor? Right there. You say, wow. No, you say, no for now. Not no to you, no for now, but yes for fill in the blank. As long as the microwaves, no, they're going to be popping later, they're good. People are going, are we talking about that in church? Yes, God created it, and I'm very thankful for that. Now, how many of you are married to a dreamer? They always come in with crazy ideas for a house, for the kids, for vacations. Yeah, oh, yeah. And they come in, they're like, hey, let's turn the house into a convertible. Those kind of people are typically married to somebody who goes, oh, the hydraulics on that would be a fortune. That's not going to, no. Let me set you free for a little bit. The only thing you say to ideas like that, you just go, wow. Because I don't know why you're getting so upset about things. For us, ideas are like squirrels. They jump from branch to branch. They don't ever land. We don't ever implement anything. What you get all stressed out about? And if we do it, you go, wow. So the goal is, wow, not how. Got that? Everybody just 1, 2, 3. Wow. And he can even be condescending, and we're okay with that. Just don't kill our dreams. Then there's this one. Some of you today owe somebody one of these. Probably most of us in this room. And don't ruin this by making it complicated. I'm sorry, but when we talked, I was so, I'm sorry, have the stapler ready if you need to. The gold stapler that you got mad at about that she bought at Target, that you're arguing about, right? Anybody got a gold stapler from Target? Yeah, I had this guy, he goes, my wife buys the most random things. We get in a fight about it. He goes, she bought a gold stapler from Target. Who needs a gold stapler? And I went, would you staple your mouth and you won't get trouble all the time? He said, I'm sorry. And next is graduate level stuff, so this isn't for everybody in the room. You were right. And this is like for when we're in heaven. And I was wrong. Right? We owe them. Think of that language. We owe you an apology. Right? You're a great mom. Moms. Where are you, moms? Yeah, hey guys, adult grandparents, you're watching your adult children parent. Tell them they're doing a great job because none of us think that we are, Spouses, husbands, tell your wife that she's a great mom because the 2-year-old's not telling her. What's the 2-year-old saying? I got doo-doo. Right? They're getting nothing. Poor stay-at-home moms too. Every mom. Good grief. Tell him she's a great mom. Tell him he's a great dad. Tell him he's a great. They need to hear it. We don't think that we are. And we're surrounded by great churches and different things that are telling us, how important families are, and we're just kind of stumbling around. We don't feel really great about it. We need to be encouraged. I miss you. Nancy's so great about when I'm traveling and speaking. Like, she'll say, I miss you. And I'm thinking, how are you having time to miss me with 3 kids that are busy in a job and all this? But that just matters that she doesn't forget me, right? It's important. I'm proud of you. Gosh, I don't know how many adult men are sitting here right now would give anything for their dad to say, I'm proud of you. Oh man, there's a lot of you, I can guarantee you. And there's a lot of you that have people in your life right now that would love to hear it from you. And that would be so healing of them. Maybe that's even, somebody that works for you. Or that's somebody, I'm proud of you, that's something with their kid, or that's just anything. I'm proud of you, I'm proud of what you've done. We're the generation too that I think we've said things like, we're driving away from baseball games saying, you're the best baseball player in the history of baseball players. And they were lying. They're not even the best right fielder in the Little League and coming. They don't need to hear that. They just say, I'm so proud of you. I love watching you play. It's so fun. I love watching you hustle. They need those things to hear that from us. Then one time couples are fighting, again, it's when they reconnect at the end of the day. What if you made this different? What if we made this different? What if we said, hey, this is not going to be a point of tension. This is going to be good every day. So here's your homework. Those of you who are married, when you reconnect at the end of the day for 1 week, I want you to make out for 30 seconds. Unless the children are watching, and then I want you to make out for 60. You got to get them to move out somehow, right? Get out of my basement. Right? I'm glad you're home. Now, I don't know if they do this all across the country, but growing up in the South, this is how you get off the phone with somebody. Okay, all right, talk to you later. All right, love you too. All right, bye. It becomes a toss away a little bit. There's just times you go, I love you, right? I love you. It kind of trumps everything. One of the things we would do with our kids when they were little would say, when do I love you? When do I love you? And we would say, all the time. So when they were little, we'd say, when do I love you? All the time. I know, it's pretty cute, isn't it? It's not quite as cute coming from a teenager that says, when you want to. But it's all the time. Do I love you when you're sweet? Yes. Do I love you when you obey? Yes. Do I love you when you don't obey? Yes. Do I love you when you're upset? Yeah. When do I love you? I love you all the time. And at the end of the day, this is what we want people in our lives to know from us, is that we love them all the time. And one of the biggest speed bumps, yet one of the biggest tools lands in the same place, and it's right here with our words. We can be slow, but we can't be silent, and we can be smart. As I'm talking about this, who's that person that's been in your head? Because I think God's very specific. That's been, that's this. And this isn't a thing of guilt. This is a sense of encouragement to go, oh, God, there's lots of people in my life. Who could it be? And what is it do they need to hear you say? And for some of you, if your spouse or your family member, you're both here, and one of them tries to do this, and they try, and it's a little bit awkward, it's a little bit clumsy, don't say you're just doing it because he told you to. Receive it. You wouldn't believe how much that happens. Receive it for what it is. They're relationally ice skating a little bit. Give them a break. Receive it from each other. Who's that person that needs for you to know through your words that you love them all the time? Let me pray for you. God, I'm so thankful for this church. I am so thankful for Nathan and his team that have loved on my son, who have spoken words that are healing to my son, that are encouraging to my son. This is what this church does, and I am so, so grateful and so thankful for this place, for Chris and all the leadership here for their passion, for people to drive away to experience more life change. That it makes a difference, that they see you and they see what you want them to do and how it changes their life, that we can lean into you. We can fall back in the fact that you're a loving Heavenly Father and there's nothing we can do, nothing we could say. There's no wounds we've given to other people that you don't forgive and you don't flood us with grace. So God, if we're feeling here, anybody's sitting here feeling guilty, God, would you lift that from them? Would you lift the burden of this message off and put hope in them that, hey, every day you say your mercies are new. Their mercies are new every morning. God, help us to bask in that. Help us to enjoy that this afternoon. Help us to enjoy that as we love each other this week. God, help us to be wise with our words. I pray in the name of Jesus. Amen.